Recording in progress. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. Let's see, today is Thursday, January 26th. And the time is, if I can use Stephen's phone, what time is it, folks?
Just after 1.
1:02.
1:02, there we go, 1:02. And present live are Val Oliver, myself, Ray Pohl, Stephen Welch, and Abby Camp. And I believe we have Diane Coombs on Zoom.
Yeah, right.
Hello, Diane Coombs. And so any votes that include Diane will, of course, be done via roll call. For those of you in the room, two things to know: mute your cell phones, and if you're recording any, let us know. Could I have a motion to approve today's?
So moved.
Thank you, Diane. On that motion, Val.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
Diane, on your motion?
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Very good. Okay, approved agenda. Any public comment? Hearing none, we will move along to commissioner comments.
I have a comment when you have a minute.
Okay, go ahead, Diane.
Or I have a question.
Yep.
We were supposed to have a discussion on last Tuesday, and we got put on to Thursday because that was going to be it. On Thursday, some reason the Thursday meeting was canceled, so now we're back to Tuesday, and there's nothing on there. I thought when something got canceled, it just got forward.
Well, it should be on for Tuesday.
Wait a minute. I got to interrupt.
Oh, we're not supposed to be discussing.
No, I have a commissioner comment. I was going to make an announcement.
Okay.
The organizational focus committee had scheduled to try and resolve this advisory group issue because it's just getting kicked around and it is nothing but frustrating for everyone involved, and to get some additional information on Diane's article. That was canceled due to Diane, who is the sponsor of the article and one of the people who wrote the initial letter on the advisory group, was ill.
No,
So,
I wasn't ill. Excuse me.
Diane, you were in the hospital.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was talking to.
First of all, Mr. Chair, could you rein her in a little bit? This is not a matter of discussion. I contacted. So we rescheduled for this Thursday. I contacted Abby on a scheduling matter. I asked her to please reach out to Diane. She told me she did, and that it was best to put this meeting off until next Thursday. So this discussion I'm hearing from Diane is very foreign to me. And I hope that it's a misunderstanding as opposed to some other tactic. Thank you.
Because my name was mentioned, could I support myself?
Yeah, we're like seriously getting into deliberation.
Okay.
Go ahead. I would like clarification of it.
Okay, so I said she could do this Thursday, but that next week would probably be better.
That's so I proceeded along that line.
Okay, so but I did, because I had talked to her twice the day before, 2 days, and I knew that she wanted to.
So would it be safe to assume at this point that it is scheduled for next Thursday?
It is, and it's not a freewheeling discussion. It is a fact-finding and organizational focus committee.
Hopefully discussion. Yes, yeah, that would be the intent. Okay. So Diane, I believe that in that discussion, your question was answered. Okay, so next Thursday. All right. Any more commissioner comments? No, Val? Okay. All right. Let's see. So then that means we're going to go directly to old business, which I see that the first application at 7 Summer is being held until Tuesday, correct? All right. So let's scratch that. And then we have 41 Monomoy. Stephen, these are all business, so we have established boards. So Stephen is chairing them. This is you, Matt, of course.
Yep.
Stephen, Diane, who's here, Abby's here, Val, who's here, Jesse, who's not. I'm apparently an alternate that I can sit. And so, yeah, I can sit, Stephen's there. This is 41 Monomoy. Add you.
Okay, Matt, what do you got for us?
So we revised the roof walk. We changed the proportions and removed the skirt. We've also provided, we actually did a mock-up of the actual roof walk on the building, which I can pass out, and also emailed to Esmeralda, in case anybody's remoted in. So just to show you what it looks like. So the view from up there is really fantastic. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of great view from the second floor there, but it's kind of an ideal location for a roof walk. The owners really want it. And I also think that the house, you know, given the topography, one of the things I'm really kind of excited about with the house is that it's pretty tucked away. Those existing trees are all going to remain. Maybe that scrub brush might go away. But in terms of visibility and its presence on the street, I feel like it's pretty tucked away and not overly obvious. There's also, sure.
We're looking at a bunch of photographs that are like show that it's fully visible.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the house in general. It's not as if the house is completely.
You're saying the view from the house.
Well, no, I'm saying the view of the house. Certainly you can see the house. We took photographs to show the portions that are visible, but I just wanted to point out that the house is set down below Monomoy Road by about like 2.5 feet. That in general, usually when we look at things on plan and we kind of review them, you kind of envision the entire facade of the house is going to be visible. As in terms of what's visible from a public way, that's what these photographs demonstrate clearly. But I also want to point out that there's a lengthy row of trees that are going to stay in place, and so further down the road, it's less visible. I just don't, you know, again, sometimes if you submit photographs showing, you know, its lack of visibility, you know, but I understand it will be visible. I guess my point is just that I feel like the house is much more tucked away than I think that even I kind of thought, and I think that kind of helps. I'm just generally happy with the way the house sits in the neighborhood. As far as the roof walk is concerned, I think that there's certainly precedent in the area for roof walks. There's multiple roof walks in the area, and hopefully this mock-up demonstrates that it's not going to be, you know, inappropriate by any stretch. So hopefully you all feel the same. I think removing the skirt was a great suggestion. So with that, I look forward to comments from the board.
Okay. A little bit unusual. We have the chairman and the vice chairman involved on one, so I'm chairing and we get it. Are anyone from the public? Okay, Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So obviously for the record, this is an infill dwelling within Monomoy Heights, which is a subdivision actually started in the 1850s, believe it or not. Appreciate the removal of the skirt. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that roof walks per building with Nantucket in mind are that they are not appropriate on a 1 to 1.5 story structure. The design still looks square. I appreciate obviously the photos, that's very helpful. But also it should be closer to the chimney as historically it would be. And I just wanted to confirm on if the dimensions of the roof walk changed in any way. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Matt, on the questions posed, was that changed?
No, has not changed.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone like to begin? Would anyone like to begin? Okay, I'll pick a victim.
Sorry, a question on the roof. Where's the what are the dimensions on that?
Oh,
I didn't get that.
They should either be on the roof plan or the elevations.
Because I think can I go ahead?
Please.
I think originally I had said that I thought the it should be its orientation of the roof walk that be on the front of the house as they usually are, and sort of cozy up to the chimney there. So it would, in fact, it would go. The length would be on the front of the house instead of doing. I mean, I've never seen one going the other way.
If I could, Mr. Chair, I feel like the main mass of the structure is the gable forward, and that's why we centered it on that.
Right, but couldn't it? So, but isn't this the short end of the roof wall?
Yes.
So couldn't that go
longer?
lengthwise?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, guys, we should just make declarative statements, what we think is appropriate, and not have back and forth.
We'll make it a dimension, Mr. Chair.
So, yeah, I'm. Oh, somebody drawing that in is this? Oh, thank you. Okay, so those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, please.
I think the issue with that is that the legs will become extremely long and land on the dormers.
Can we zoom out?
Right.
Thank you. Oh.
I know there's roof walks in the area. I just don't think it's appropriate on this design in this way.
Okay. Ray?
I'm actually okay with it, given and the fact that it's unskirted.
I'm with Val in this way, in particular.
Can I speak to
Oh, I'm sorry, Diane. Yeah, please.
the thing? I think the thing that the legs are so long, what, as long as it's not joined to the chimney anyhow, what happens if we moved it down over one of the shed dormers to the right? And then you wouldn't have the point of going on a gable.
Diane, then it'll be over a 1 3/4 story, which is out of our guidelines. Versus over the 2-story structure currently. I don't disagree. I'm just pointing out, I think it makes more sense in terms of what we're accustomed to, but it also then, due to the underlying structure, literally makes it out of our guidelines.
Okay.
What is I kind of sense a mixed group here. So does someone want to?
So I don't understand why you're saying, why wouldn't it be okay to put it to the right over those 2 shed dormers? I don't.
Because that's a 1 3/4 story structure, and our guidelines indicate that roof walk should be over a 2-story structure.
Sorry to interrupt it.
Yeah.
All of it's in, all of it is one.
Right.
Even the place, the one that's facing us, the gable forward.
It looks like it's
Right, it just has, at least for me, the appearance of having a 2nd story because it's a gable forward.
Yeah.
So when you do the roof walk, you have more of a typical presentation, which is a 2-story structure. Which is why I think it's better there, but the problem is that I think it would need to be smaller because of the length of the legs, and then you make it smaller and then it looks like a pimple, and doesn't really make sense to have a pimple on a beautiful house.
If I could, Mr. Chair, I think that mock-up, again, 2-dimensional drawings are always, even with like shading and shadowing in the 3D model, but the mock-up to me, I thought was fairly convincing, and for what it's worth, I do think that the roof walk itself does complement the structure. I thought the removal of the skirt, I think, addressed some of the concerns about the length of the legs. And Abby, to your point, we did narrow it up so that the legs weren't as long. So again, I think all in all, I don't think that this would be a negative addition to this house or not in keeping with the context.
Okay, so I think we've got 2 options here. We can either hold for a view that is earnestly gone and looked at, or we can make a motion and see where it goes. It seems like we've got a split bench.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is this actually like a thing that's constructed up there, or this is drawn on here?
It's constructed.
Okay.
So if you might.
Yeah.
You want to put one up and then we'll say take it down.
Well, no, because I thought maybe it was like, they drew it.
Yeah, photos, yeah.
So how about a motion?
A motion to view it.
Okay, on Val's motion, we got to do roll call. Val?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Right?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Chair, is there any way that it could, because it is just a view, that it can come back on sooner than 5 weeks? I know that the motion's already passed, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we could do that. It is a view we've asked for. It's not that the applicant has pushed in or held something over. So, do we need to reopen that, or can we just make a motion? Let's just, please get a motion.
I'll make a motion to put it on as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Next.
All in favor of, Abby on your motion?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Thank you all.
We shared the
Diane?
yeah. A little one, this small.
2 Hussey Street. Matt, you have a 3-person board.
I thought I counted 4.
Well,
Oh, no,
me,
wrong.
Diane, Hussey's not here. And,
Yeah.
up to you, but just
I'm comfortable going ahead.
okay. 2 Hussey Street, enclosed second floor porch.
Okay, so use the chair. So this is an application that you've seen previously. This is to enclose a second floor added porch. We had come to you previously with an alternate version where we basically wrapped the entire second floor in glass to make it look like it was an infill porch. The board deliberated, and I think the consensus was to take this approach, which was just basically 3 independent windows, shingled, keeping the existing lower section the way it was. I thought that it worked out pretty well. So with that, put forward comments from the board.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to our routine. So any questions for Matt? Okay. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is a circa 1918 garage that was turned into a house. It was actually built by Ellen Wood Coleman, Dr. Ellen Wood Coleman of 34 Center Street, and it's actually documented in one of NPT's books. That was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Appreciate the change to 2 windows on the north, which is facing the street facade. Appreciate keeping the shingles instead of the clapboard. Appreciate showing window boxes on the east, but it doesn't give the appearance of an enclosed porch. The existing porch is more successful. My recommendation would be maybe to pull the wall inward of the existing post roofs and rafters to actually show that it's an infill and harken back to the original porch, using your term, harken. I love that word. And those are my comments, and I do know HSAG had some comments, and I believe Mickey's in the queue.
Mickey, you got comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, I've got something, Steve, thanks.
Please go ahead.
Enclosing the porch creates an awkward 2-story shed addition. It works much better as a lighter feeling open porch. An option might be to use gray painted vertical boards instead of shingles.
Okay, thank you, Mickey. Who would like to comment first? Diane, Abby?
Yeah, well, so Billy, did you say something about keeping some of the porch details so that, yeah, so I like that idea. So many times in porches are infilled, and I think keeping that detail of the railing or having windows sort of really close together so it really reads as a sun porch rather than this looks more intentional, not like it was added over, you know, years. So I would like that more sun porchy feeling. And I think that involves bigger windows, sliding doors, like a sleeping porch, rather than, you know, just a normal looking house. You get my drift. And that's a start.
Thank you. Who would like to go next?
All right, I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Abby. I think it would be good to keep it looking like a porch, but not wide open. So with the railing and stuff, it would be good and looks like a porch, a sleeping porch that was filled in and put on. Thank you.
Okay. Val or Ray?
Yeah, I'm not on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think you might.
Oh, that's right. It's just 3.
Yeah.
It was just, well, wait a minute.
We had previously.
I'm slouching here. Let's strike Abby's comments as a member and take those as.
Oh, it's Val Oliver, yeah.
So it's myself, Diane, and Val. So Val.
Can we just, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Can we just pretend the part where she said if you get my drift.
Yeah,
I like that.
because that's a little, it's not totally ambiguous, but it's not specific to only this. Val?
Well, I didn't mind it being shingled in. The previous version I thought was too different with all it was like casements all the way around. But what about that same idea and just make them double hung?
You could do that.
Okay. I just think if you could, Matt, if you could change some of the vocabulary on the side cladding, so it looks more like a porch infill versus a shingled wall. So maybe that it's almost like the railing level comes in where the flower boxes are left to right. Can we zoom in on the upper left corner? Yeah.
That's kind of what we had.
And a little, yeah, so that's more like it. And then I get HSAG's comment about light and a different, you know, so I'm not quite sure like a gray is going to do it because the shingles will gray. But if it's like a super light color and maybe a monochromatic in that area, and then that looks much more like a porch infill. We don't have, I'll just finish the thought on that. Bill, do you see what Matt's presented here?
That was the previous.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the vertical board thing. I don't understand it. I've not seen any porches built in with vertical boards like that, so I'm a little mystified by that. Why couldn't it be shingled underneath?
Yep, and that's an option. So, and then Abby or Diane. So the discussion is, can you zoom in a little bit more on that one we just done? Dan, can you see the zoom in?
Yeah.
Okay. The discussion is this general concept with some modifications. Currently, instead of vertical board on the second floor, shingled under the windows.
I don't think it should be vertical board.
No, that's what we said. It would be shingled instead.
Right. Why is it? It's vertical boards on the first floor, right?
Yeah, and then so this was the original proposal, and then Matt is bringing it up because it seems to echo some current comments, which is to make the structure look, the change in the structure look more like a sun porch than like a filled-in addition.
Right. It should look like a sun porch, I think.
Okay, so hold on. So you're comfortable with the idea or not comfortable with the idea of shingle wall, sidewall?
I would be comfortable with the idea of a shingle wall because most of the filled in porches that I've seen, they shingled it around to fit in with the house. It wasn't brought out to view. So I would be perfectly happy with the shingled wall underneath the windows.
Okay, and Bill, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And is there an appetite for there to be like a sill that goes around from side to side to replicate like a porch rail?
Yeah.
That got windows put in? Okay.
There is one, you just can't see it. And we had the rail terminate into the post so that it was the most authentic emulation of the original porch.
Thank you. Those darn pretty flower boxes.
That's your old trick.
So how about a motion that would include that information we just discussed?
I'll try.
Okay.
A motion to approve through staff with the windows, arrangement to make it look more like.
Can I just make a suggestion? Can you use the previous submission and then just modify it? Because we were just going to do a couple modifications to that, right? We're going to add shingle versus vertical board and accentuate.
I don't see how the windows will work, but
can you explain what you mean by that? That type, or can you bring up the previous zoom in? No, yeah, no. Let's modify this one, I think, and make it simpler in the motion as well. And if it includes the windows, Val, then let us know what you think.
Macon Cottage sash in the double hung. And change the vertical board to
So
show
it'd be 3 wide double hungs.
I would stick with the 6 light, but just make it like a 4/2 or a 2/4. But I think Val suggested going with double hung, which I could convert those to double hungs pretty easy.
Okay. Val, does that help or not?
So they're gonna be the same proportions,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Where I was falling short was it turning into the 6/6 windows. I didn't see how that was gonna work, so. That, yeah, I'm good with that,
Okay. Do you want me to stab at it?
yeah.
Okay, so. Motion to approve through staff, this is Vale's motion, through staff with the second floor windows being changed from, these are casement now?
Yes.
From casement to double hung. The vertical cladding to be replaced with shingle, sidewall shingle. And there will be a rail element, a sill element that reflects the historic porch rail from left to right under the windows. Is that your motion, Val?
Mhm.
Okay, on your motion,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Thank you very much.
Famous last words. Oh, that's just the little one.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoa, right. Okay, so now on to the new business report. I'm not finding this application a negative thing here, but it's 8 Chuck Hollow pool and hardscape.
Oh, I can't sit on this because I'm doing.
Okay. So that's 4 person board.
That's leaving and that's reporting 6 Island.
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
That's okay.
Before you got too far away.
Yeah, it was before it was Tuesday, right? Excuse me? Two.
Oh, but he leaves and also for Stephanie. He's leaving.
The
Yeah.
ones that I focused on.
No, he's still sitting out there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
After.
All right, so 8 Chuck Hollow. We'll need to get that up because it's not on my wall.
If you go to the consent and condition, it was a consent and condition one originally.
Okay, yes, right, thank you.
You all received comments from the butter.
And we do have
Right.
a butter
It's
here.
all coming back to me now. Okay, so we're gonna, Lindsay, why don't you start into it?
I mean, I know there was a letter, I think Jason wrote a letter. I mean, should we listen, hear the letter first? Up to you.
The letter is from the neighbor?
I think it's from Jason. I think she's in a butter.
Well, yeah, Jason, you're writing this as a neighbor, right? And not in an official capacity, correct?
Right, I'm writing this as an abutter. My family owns 10 Chuck Hollow, which I live in.
Yeah, we received that letter. Okay, so but the protocol that we follow is you go first.
Okay.
And then we hear from you.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so we're proposing a pool and a spa in the back of the house. The idea was to just kind of tuck it all the way in the back so it wouldn't be visible from the road, right down the street. So when you look through, you won't be able to see it. It's going to be tucked behind the house. And I have actually the exact same layout at my house, which is like right down the street. So,
Okay, is that it, Lindsay?
yeah, and we're not applying for the shed. We're just going for the pool and the fire pit.
Okay. Okay, Jason, your turn.
Okay, so I live at 10 Chuck Hollow, which is to the south of this property. And I feel that this is not appropriate for the site or the house. The pool, the hardscape, the fire pit, the spa with the waterfall, they're all much bigger when taken together than the house is. I would like it to be reduced in size. I also do question the visibility because the scrub oak only is leafed out for 4 months out of the year, and you can see back there, particularly down the side of the south side of the driveway. And I would expect, Lindsay, that you are going to be brush cutting more, which I believe will make it more visible. I did have an issue with the shed, but if you're taking the shed off, is that something you plan on applying for later? And then I'd also like to know a little bit about lighting, because there is a lot of lighting down at the property that these people had already owned before and put a pool in. And I question the lighting and whether that's going to happen at this site as well.
Okay, so Jason, we don't generally review pool lighting, the landscape lighting. Have you concluded for now?
Yeah. I just think it's way too big for this site. It's too much going on.
Okay, thank you. And just folks, we will need, if we get to any kind of approval, we want to make sure that it's explicit that the shed, which is shown on the site plan and is part of the bubbled in area, is not part of this application. Okay? We're all in agreement about that? The 10 by 20 shed. Okay. Who would like to begin?
I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chair. Lindsay, what's the W behind the structure, the two-story structure? It looks like.
Oh, it's a well.
Okay, and then the dashed line that surrounds that area between the house and the pool?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
The dash line. Oh,
I think he wanted to keep a certain distance off of the house. He didn't want it to be right up against the house.
Okay, so then my next question is, and I'm not sure, I guess this would be to Jason as the abutter who's commenting on this, is if the pool structure were moved closer to the home, understanding at the moment that that's not what the applicant prefers, does it alter the potential view of the pool itself?
From
Chuck Hollow.
From the street?
From the street, yeah.
Yeah, I think it may. I don't know how close you can get to that well. It's a second story deck because it's an upside down house. I don't know. I just think it's a lot of it's just also a lot of hardscaping.
No, I got you. I just was curious, in your opinion, as the person who viewed this, and I haven't, whether you felt that the pool being located is beneficial or not.
You know, my worry is that to do the work behind the house and to get all that equipment there, that they're going to be brush cutting into the brush to the south, close to the house, to get around the house. So I think it will make it more visible.
Okay, Lindsay, can you comment?
Yeah, so we're not going to clear any more on the right-hand side. Like, we're going to go around the garage side. Like, see right there how we kind of cleared that out, opened that up a little bit more. That's going to be our access to get around the back.
Okay.
I live down the street, so like I even drove by today and looked through. You won't be able to see it back there. I mean, there's so much brush, even with the leaves off of the scrub oaks today. You can.
So thank you. I can't make an informed decision on this without doing a view. So I wanted to get some additional information when we had both parties here. And then my suggestion, subject to your all comments, is that we do a view with the pool area staked out with some, stakes with orange marker ribbon on them.
Okay. Is that it?
Other than that, I think it's really large, so I'm concerned about it. So I want to see what's visible.
Okay. Thank you. Who's next?
I just wanted to add to Stephen's question that I think that dotted line says end of possible future main house.
Yeah, my tablet's not up and running.
I'm not seeing that.
Right there.
Oh, there it is. I thought it was just a gap that she left off for the.
Okay. All right. Good. Anything else out there?
Yeah, I just think it's large for the site and over hardscaped, and I mean, as the structure is now, it is whole proposal is bigger than the main structure, so I think it's overly developed.
Okay, thank you. Val Oliver.
I'm not on this.
It's a new board, isn't it?
But she's designed.
I'll go.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes. Oh, so you could speak to that addition. Diane, your turn.
Okay, I think it is too large. It going along with Stephen's view, I would like to have a stake put out at that spa with the waterfall on it. I think that there should be some pictures of Tom Nevers in the winter time, and the brush. The brush takes a severe amount of loss. And it takes some time. It's not big tall brush, but it takes some time to grow back. And this sticks out, as Jason said, it's twice as big as the house. And if the house grows out to where that line is, it's going to be a huge amount right in the middle of the property. And I don't see any particular thing except those 4 trees that cut off the outside lines. We don't want to have a hedge along out of Tom Nevers. I think that's inappropriate. So I would like to see also what vegetation is planned, rather than the 4 very formal trees around a very formal patio, around a very formal pool.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. So
Can I say one last thing before we?
Of course you can.
So the area that we drew, like, as I mentioned before, I live 3 down from this house, right nearby. It's actually less hardscape than what I have at my property, which is the same exact thing, same exact size lot. Our goal is not to do additional clearing on the right side, to have it go around. And I think you'll see it when you guys go view it. You won't be able to see it from the road. And I'll make sure I'll stake out the patio too. Like, I'll stake out the corners of the pool and orange. I'll stake out the corners of the patio in blue. So that you guys can all see it.
I do the opposite.
And the spa.
Oh, pool's blue.
Yeah,
And the spa.
And the spa, yeah, and I'll actually do the spas so you can actually see it raised. Like, I'll do it 18 inches out of the ground so you can kind of see. But you won't be able to see it from there.
Okay. So can somebody give me a motion to that effect?
Oh, motion to hold for review.
Well, I wouldn't, if you want to make divisions in the
and,
meantime, that would be fine too.
And stake out the size of the.
Correct. Okay, that's Abby's motion. On Abby's motion, Diane.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Thank you. Abby on the motion.
Aye.
And I'm in favor as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move along, hopefully, to 7 Barnabas. And Mr. Welch is sharing this with, we have James, and there looks like James, right?
Hello.
Okay, Stephen's sharing, but it looks like I will be sitting on this because Val and I are alternates, and we have Diane and Abby and Stephen, of course, as regular members. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thanks. Before we move on, we determine Matt is not here any longer.
Oh, I forgot about
No idea.
No idea.
Yeah, there was that 3rd project.
We did. 4 and 6 to be held till Tuesday.
4 and 6 Highland, but 4-step land.
I don't see it.
Okay, so that's all moving to Tuesday. Love your bumper sticker.
Yeah, just reminds people that have a good day.
That's really groovy. Okay.
You don't like it?
Sure.
I'm just
trying. Okay, why don't we begin with James? Why don't you let us know what you've got going on here?
Okay, quick question just before I present the project, just to confirm, Ray is on now? Aren't I missing 2 members or just one?
Ray and Val.
Ray and both of you are. Okay, just to confirm. Cool. Thank you very much.
Alternates, I know.
You gotta move it up into this truck stand and then you can.
So this is 7 Barnabas Lane, which we had presented before you a little while back. And I want to thank you for your initial feedback because as usual, I think it has helped advance the design along. This is a fairly traditional 5-bay forward with a small addition on the north side of the property. The colors for your understanding are white with Essex green shutters, Essex green brick on the lower portion of the front elevation. The front main mass is proposed as clapboard right now. Everything to the east or behind the main mass is shingle as well. So some of the main comments that were made in the previous viewing were related to windows, size, etc. So we've decided to answer the bulk of those as per the board's request. One of the major changes was we had changed all the windows to 6/6 as per the board's request. We changed all of the doors, or not including the front door, to a 12 light with a kick panel. Before it was a variable kind. You can see in the upper left, there used to be panels, full height doors, etc. And then we've also changed the overall height of the main mast by bringing the building down to 29 feet from previous 2910, I believe. So we've brought it down, changing the proportion of the front elevation. So if you pan up a little bit to the west elevation, number 2, that's the street side elevation of Barnabas. We've also increased all the window sizes on this elevation and made all the windows the same. So in keeping with the neighborhood, all of these windows are now A-sized windows and larger. So the proportions between them are better. We believe they're better. Additionally, we made the front door a little bit larger. It was a little small as per comments before. Additionally, another major change was that we've pulled the chimney inboard. As you can see on the lower left there, previously the chimney was outboard of that secondary mass. We've pulled it inside. So you don't see that anymore. And we've removed the clear stories from those doors as well. We have kept the clear stories in the back of the building, which we believe won't really be seen. And they actually mimic what's happening on the building to number 9 next door. So there is some precedent for that, as well as the friendship stairs in the front, which was commented on. But the next door, number 9, also has friendship stairs, and we think it's still a nice addition here. Other than that, also per one of Stephen's comments, we broke down the rear separation between the smallest mass in the back and the secondary mass. We brought down that eave line. It was contiguous before. It really can't be seen, but we thought that was a potentially welcome addition to break things up. And additionally, lower left-hand corner there, we broke up what were ganged windows into individual windows. I believe that was a Diane comment. And made them align with the ones above. So overall, we think your comments were great and we liked making a lot of the changes, and we think this is a potentially approvable proposal. We look forward to your comments.
Okay, thank you, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is an infill dwelling within the Woodbury subdivision, which was a subdivision from the 1980s. It's actually listed as a prime example of Nantucket architecture after 1955, listed, on our NHL update. So obviously a prominent infill to emulate our Nantucket historic architecture. Appreciate the changes, moving the chimney inside, removing the half rounds from the French doors, and giving the door a kick panel. The transoms on the secondary mass should be removed from the secondary and rear mass. I believe they will be visible driving up Woodbury from that elevation. The chimney cap is atypical. I think it should be removed and be more in keeping with traditional chimney with maybe some corbelling that you'd see with a federal style structure. Also, we should have the chimney in the main mass would be more appropriate, or maybe add an additional chimney, but having it more in the main mass is more appropriate, more traditional, and it should be next to the roof walk as proposed. The nano doors on the secondary mass is too much. and not appropriate, and I think it will be visible. The friendship stairs, as mentioned, obviously are appropriate for a federal style architecture or structure, but they're more for an elevated federal style, whereas this is only 33 inches off grade, which is atypical to have a friendship stair for a structure of that nature. I would reference to look at other 5-bay federal styles within the Woodbury subdivision and possibly even our old historic district structures. The front facing steps would be more appropriate with the low grade that this is being proposed. Overall, I think the changes are in the right direction with some tweaks here and there. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. And I know that HSAG had some comments as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Holly. Is there anyone from the public other than Mickey? Okay, Mickey.
Sure. So the chimney should be in the main mass. The front door fan light is unusual and should change to a more traditional horizontal transom. The shutters should be louvered. The 10-foot ceiling height creates too much space between the first and second floor windows. The ceiling should be dropped a foot to reduce this space. The north-facing French doors in the main mass will be visible and are not appropriate. They should change to windows. The second floor windows above are spaced too far to the sides and should be moved toward the center. The south-facing flush dormer is too wide and should be broken into 2 dormers. Clapboard is only appropriate on the front facade, not the flanking addition or the sides. And we agree with what Holly is saying about the friendship stairs. It's not an appropriate building for friendship stairs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chairman, can I address something to Mickey's comments real quick?
Briefly, James.
Oh, I just wanted to say we did bring the floor height down from 10 feet. So that was a comment that was previously done. So just to address that in particular, but I appreciate the other comments.
James, what's the change to?
We reduced the floor to floor height. He had noted that it was a 10-foot first floor height, but we've reduced that, bringing the height down. 9'4", I believe. Okay, that's the 8 inches difference in our elevations. So.
Thank you. Okay, who would like to go?
Right. Oh, Diane.
Diane, go ahead.
In the gable, just where I see it on the south and on the east, the little vent up in the apex should just be a four window, not a vent like that. That's what it looks like on my set drawing. It looks like a vent. I go along with what beg your pardon, you see what I'm talking about?
No, go ahead, Diane.
Okay, on the east elevation, that's on the east elevation and the south elevation, both sides of the south. Everything up on in the very peak is some sort of vent, and I don't think it should be. I agree with Holly on all the stuff that she said. I agree with Mickey on the stuff that he said. I think he's done a lot of work on correcting it. These are sort of littler ones, but it puts the building together along there on Barnabas Lane, which is on the edge of the old historic district. So that's what I think. I don't think there's anything that, except for those vents, that I'm concerned about. The only thing is that skylight underneath the roof fork. I don't know. I think that's, if you have to have one, it's the only place. It's up on the third of the roof, and it should be wood. Anyway, so that's what I got to say for now.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Before we move on from Diane, Esmond, could you just zoom in on the lower structure, the upper gable? Is that a 4-light window or a vent?
I believe
it's a 4-light. It's a 4-light.
No, the lower structure, the main. Yeah, I know she mentioned that one too, but I wanted to I just want her to be able to see what's there too. So Diane, I was looking at it like you are, not looking at my tablet, and that it turns out that little window is a vent, but I think more to your point, it's so little that it looks like a vent.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Go one
Ray,
size bigger or something, brother.
Okay.
We can certainly increase that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, here's my wish list. Clapboard only on the front facade of the main gable. That's it. Shingle everywhere else. It would be great if you took as an example a Main Street or one of the downtown frontispieces that included the elliptical window above and mimic the details, because right now it seems like a very sort of chopped down, modified version of what could be a really well executed frontispiece. Chimney on the main mass. And the friendship stair goes to just something more straightforward. You don't need to have that big elaborate thing. That's it for me.
Quick question. Oh, sorry, sir.
Go ahead if it's clarification, not a rebuttal.
Then I will wait to respond.
Thank you, James. We'll save those to the end. You'll get a chance. Bill?
It just disappeared on this, so.
No.
Can't see that far. What side is this that we're looking at? I think there's way too many doors on whatever side. I know I had it and it went away.
It's the north side and it's a re-entrant corner. It really can't be seen, especially presuming when the garage gets in place. But
yeah, I still think there's too many doors, and the ones on the mass that has the chimney, I think could be windows. And the door to the mudroom, I believe it is, could be different than a French door. I agree about the transoms. And maybe those little gable windows could bump up just a small bit so they fill up a little more space. Other than that, I agree with what's been said.
Okay, thank you, Abby.
Yeah, so I see Woodbury Lane as being, it is mimicking historic houses, like I said, but it is more rural and residential, and so I think the formality, it seems out of place here. It just seems a little too formal with the friendship stairs, the fan window, and I think that the chimney on that far left really should be incorporated into the main mass, because we are replicating old buildings, and you could have one there, but it should be secondary to a main chimney. And so I agree, just clapboard on the front of the house. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. James, I appreciate the changes. The front elevation, can we zoom on that, please? I agree with much of what Ray said. Clapboard only on the primary front facade. The fan window transom, get a reference. There's plenty that could be a very attractive detail if properly executed. And it may be what you have in mind, but just it's not translating in the CAD program. The chimney, I would suggest, is inappropriate at that size for that location. A 13 by 13 terracotta liner can be brought. You can bring down the cladding, the brick element, and still maintain whatever chimney you have on the inside and through the roof. And then I would suggest a faux chimney on the opposite side of the main roof, which would be perhaps the approximate size of what you have here. So that keeps your program intact and would be historically correct. To the extent you can move those windows, I think it would be important and appropriate. And on Em's comment about it being a little sophisticated for this area, what is the, yeah, I would say that eliminating the friendship stair, but not necessarily some of the detailing that seems to be built into the rail. Maybe I'm reading into it, but that seems like it's got some, it's not just your standard post and cap and rail. I think that that's appropriate. It's just that the double is, yeah, I think you could dress up that exit, that the railing and the both on the stoop and the steps, but just limited to one side, no friendship. To the extent that the multiple doors on the rear are visible, that has to be addressed, James, one way or the other. And there's a pretty strong consensus on that. So a motion for one last set of revisions.
So moved.
On your motion, Abby?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
OG?
Can I?
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt our vote. I did promise James an opportunity to clarify something.
I appreciate that, Stephen. I just wanted to ask a couple clarifications and make a couple comments related to some things that were noted. One comment specifically to Ray regarding the clapboard on just the front mass, which was made by multiple individuals. We've been referring to 90 Main Street in-house as a representative inspiration for this project, which maintains clapboard on the front in its secondary mass. While that is far more formal than even this, there is precedent nearby to have clapboard on multiple elevations. That same structure also has a friendship stair and a fan front door, which we have been using as reference. I can share an image of that if that's allowed. I'm not sure.
I think we all know the building quite
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
All right, so if through the chair, I'd like to just briefly respond.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's examples of houses that have clapboard on all four sides. However, that is not what is most common on Nantucket. In Nantucket, the show-off side of the house was around the front door, and everything else was subordinate. So they only spent money on the clapboard on the front of the building. Those buildings that are completely encased in clapboard, like 90 Main, which by the way is a beautiful building, and if you want to emulate an elliptical transom, do it on that one, like so that it looks like that, and you'll be fine. But I think that this board, makes determinations. This, of course, is not Main Street. We're appreciative of the fact that you are emulating a building, but there's a certain point beyond which, it's too much. You could say you were emulating one of the three bricks and say, oh, well, gosh, we're going to do the whole building brick. But it's not going to happen on Woodbury Lane. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for the articulation of a good point that I think we all support strongly. James, I think you've got some pretty clear ideas of what you need to get this approved. It's in your court, as they say.
Can I ask for one clarification on the chimney?
I just want to make sure he's got the clarification, and then we're going to vote.
Yeah, I remember
You motioned, I held the vote until
I had another clarification.
One more, but no rebuttals.
Just Stephen, to your comment where you had suggested, chimney on the opposite side of where the present chimney is, like the south side of the structure. That was
just, yes.
Even if it's faux in that representation.
In particularly faux, I'm not going to be so. I'm not going to suggest you change your program on the inside for a chimney.
Understood. All right. I appreciate the comments.
Yep, sure. No, not to rush anyone along. I'm equally brusque with everyone. Can we get on the motion, Abby? Can you revote?
Oh yeah. Motion to hold for a few minor revisions or major. I can't remember.
Some for those revisions. And your vote?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Right? Aye. I'm an aye. Carries unanimously.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
So, thanks. Matthew, did you return for 4-step?
Well, actually, I have 10 Lincoln. I didn't see 4-step. Did we skip 4-step?
Yeah,
we did.
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
because we know that you're holding the Highlands. But
yes.
4-step. Shall we move back?
Is that
to
okay? Yeah, that'd be great. Sorry about that.
We're trying to move into the new month, you see.
Yeah.
With some substance, not just on the fringes.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. You guys do a great job.
Oh, stop.
Yeah,
I did it for a couple of years, many years ago, so I know it's a grind.
it's time to come back.
Yeah.
So, close the edition.
It's a Thursday, it's always gonna be.
More now compared to then.
Yeah. I know. The fumes killed me.
That's fine.
Not killed me, but
And then sometimes
a lot
Internet helps.
of pinstripes on my car every day.
so it should be under
12:20.
12:20.
Diane, just FYI, we're jumping back to 4 Step Lane, which is new business of December 20th.
Okay,
Matthew.
I was just looking for it. Okay,
All right, Matthew hit it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is an addition to 4 Step Lane. So this is one of the houses that was damaged in the fire, the Veranda House fire. You've approved, thankfully, the like-kind replacement of the building as a whole as part of the reconstruction. The owners have you sought that as an opportunity to make some minor additions to the structure. One of which is adding these 3 gable dormers onto the front of the building. And then on the side elevation, which I think is the next page down, addition basically of a 1-story bump out. So that lower section on the left is really like new ground cover. That's pretty much the only new ground cover, if you will. So it's just a 1-story bump out. There is a built-in deck off the 2nd floor. That's where the master suite is. As far as the roof configuration on the 2nd floor, that is the original and existing configuration. So the only thing that we're doing is changing the fenestration. The windows are kind of random sizes around the rear, and so we want to kind of create some consistency. So we've just proposed to make them all the same size. And then finally, just on the 1st floor, they're hoping to connect the front entry porch via a deck to what is now going to be a small mudroom door. That's all it is. Thank you.
Okay, Matthew, thank you. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as Matt said, you all approved it like work after the fire from July 9th of last year. This is a circa 1810 typical Nantucket for Alexander Ray. I think he was a whaleman. So this addition is 97 square foot on a crawl space with the 1st floor infill decks and 2nd floor balcony dormers. The 3 dormers are too much for this typical Nantucket, not appropriate. Adding 2 gable dormers to typical Nantuckets have been the traditional addition over the years, and I would highly recommend 2, not 3. The dormers should be compatible to the main roof and pitch and overhang per building with Nantucket in mind. Obviously, refer to others in the Old Historic District and actually right around the corner. And I believe on North Water Street is a good example of a couple of the same vintage. The proposed French doors on the 1st and 2nd should be 12 light with kick panels. The 2nd floor balcony, I believe, will be visible off of Step Lane because this elevation is what you see when you go up Step Lane to the left. Although the veranda obviously has balconies and will when they rebuild across the street, it's not appropriate for this typical Nantucket. Where the I think it's where the C windows are replacing. Are those salvaged ones or are those, so we did the like kind, but then with replacing windows, I was a little confused on what's.
Those would be all new, the C type.
Okay. Obviously TDL. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair. I know HSAG has them.
Okay, Mickey, your turn.
Okay, similar to Holly's, the 3 dormers dominate the main roof plane. 2 dormers would be more appropriate. The dormers should also be shorter to reduce the amount of shingled area below the window. And that's it. Thanks.
It's basically brutal.
Mickey, did you say that's it?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, nothing to speak of on the back.
No, Holly covered that pretty well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Board members.
Those are members of the board.
Yeah, I agree with Mickey.
On the dormers.
Yeah, and otherwise, I think, generally, okay.
Okay. All right, who's next?
I think Val is.
Abby.
Is there photos?
Yes.
Well, so yeah, I agree. I think those 3 dormers right on Step Lane overpowers the, historic structure. What is the, is it the east elevation we'll see walking up Step Lane?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And we have a perspective.
So those 3 gang windows that you've added on that little bump out, those are received back behind that.
Yes.
Okay, so we won't see those. I think all I like it's just 2 dormers in the 3rd floor.
Very good, Abby. Thank you. Diane.
It's the dormers. I don't think they should be there.
Oh, period.
The dormers on the 3rd floor, they should not be there.
Okay. Thank you, Diane.
Sorry.
Wow.
I think it's all been covered well. If there was some major concern about the balcony, could it just be shingled in and then it would be less noticeable?
After you, Mr. Chair, we could do that. I felt that because of the railing, I almost feel like the shingle rails sometimes looks like kind of heavier, but if that was the pleasure of the board, for some reason I feel like it's more conducive to the style of the house, the open rail, but certainly open to anything.
Anything else, Val? Okay, very good. It looks like the ridges of those dormers, I think so, without a doubt, it's going to 2 dormers, so I don't need to repeat that. Are the ridges of the dormers hitting the ridge of the building? It appears so.
They're not, they're close, but they're probably about 6
It'd
inches.
be great if they sort of went down and were subordinate, which might require the eave of the dormers to get a little bit lower.
He's gonna lower the roof then.
Well, I think Mickey was, through you, Mr. Chair, was suggesting to actually drop the plate of the dormers altogether to reduce the amount of area between the windowsill and.
If that was said before, then I missed it because that's exactly what I would like to see happen.
And that's what I was referring to when I agreed with Mickey, if that's what he meant.
Yeah, okay. I was hearing something about the bottom, but I obviously misunderstood. So that I'm in agreement with that. And then as regards that railing on the 2nd floor, I don't think that it's going to be highly visible, and I actually agree with Matt in that it's like a more traditional rendering of a 2nd floor deck than would be a shingled rail in that particular location. What doors?
Door. It's not that tall.
Oh, we can totally do that.
That door. On
On the 2nd
second.
floor, you mean do like a kick panel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more, just a smidge up, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
We actually started with 4 dormers to try to align.
Oh,
the base. Our little self-editing went along with it.
Oh, I'll make.
I was just trying to think of what it would look like with those thin cups.
No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I just meant from the vocabulary on the back. Okay, no other comments from me anyways.
Should we try and move this?
Yeah, I was
I
going to
think we're
say,
close.
it's only 2 things, isn't it? Like
Depends on what 2 things we're talking about.
the
Kick
French
panel.
door
Yeah,
on the east
French panel,
elevation,
yes,
go to
kick
kick
panel.
panel and
2
only 2 dormers.
2 dormers on the what elevation is that, the front?
That is the
North.
north.
And lower the mass of the doors.
And lower the pitch and the blade of, yes.
Through staff.
Yep.
Through staff.
Yeah.
Is that Abby's motion?
That is.
Would I change the pitch or would I just lower?
Lower the mass, I think.
I was gonna lower the plate by like 6 inches.
That's fine.
Well, but I took it as Can we go back to front elevation, please? All right, it's just relevant. Zoom in. I took it that the mass of those dormers was just going to be lowered into the primary roof plane, such that your sill would be closer to the roof. Your dormers wouldn't change.
Okay.
No,
No?
not necessarily. I mean, they could be in the same plane.
Okay, so you're
vertically.
suggesting literally pulling the windows down.
Well, pulling the whole dormer down.
You could just drop the plate of the dormers is what I was thinking, because then the windows would come down as well. Like I would basically keep the relationship of the plate, the pitch, because I feel like that relationship works, because it took a lot of, things weren't looking normal. So anyways, so my thought was to just drop the whole assembly, the window header height, the plate, keep the pitch the same, and then drop it so there was basically like a shingle course between the sill.
The dormer would be less vertical. It would, the bridge would be lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, but the roof pitch, the dormer roof pitches will stay the same.
That was my thought.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is you're basically taking that thing and you're going.
Down.
You're pushing it
Yeah.
down. That's what I thought you
Got it
meant.
now. I got it now. Okay, so that was Abby's motion.
Excuse me real quick. Could somebody very concisely repeat the motion?
I'm sorry, what, Terry?
There's an echo. Can somebody concisely repeat the motion? There was a lot of talk and
Yeah, okay, so on the dormers on the front of the building, we're gonna go to 2. And we are going to lower the roofs on the dormers down, I would say 6 to 8 inches. Does that sound right? 6 to 8 inches, all other things remaining the same, so that the dormers will be less tall. That's on the front, AKA north elevation, and then on the east elevation, the second floor door to the deck will have a kick panel on it. That is the motion.
And we're not lowering the windows in the dorm.
Well, they're lowering as a result of lowering everything.
Okay, because you just said lower the top plate. So lower the top plate.
Well, if he lowers the top plate, he's got to lower the windows are going to crash
Right.
into the bridge.
He's got room. Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear. That's all.
Everything gets lowered 8 inches on the dormers. Okay.
All right.
So Terry, the Rasputin of note takers. Okay.
this is the last day you have to listen to me.
Yeah, this is the last time. We know, sure. Okay, well, okay. It's nice to hear your voice, Terry. So on Abby's motion, Diane.
Coons.
Val.
Aye.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Abby. Val on mute. There she is. Diane.
Yeah, I'm an aye.
Very good. And I'm in favor too. So that carries. All right. So we got rid of that. All right. So 85 Low Beach, if we have rep, but now let's take a look at our time because this is 3 applications. Oh, we got 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm a hard 2:30 because we got.
Yeah, I'm a hard 2:30.
Probably not gonna get.
I've got nothing to play today.
Yeah.
Yes, Holly.
For the solar work group.
Good. I'm good.
Good.
Let's go.
Do we have anybody to rep for 85 Low Beach?
Hi, I'm here, Elizabeth Dunbar-Collier.
Sorry, what?
Hi, yes, Elizabeth Dunbar-Collier here.
Okay, very good. All right, let's see. Now, you have an established board. Let's see how you're going to do here. I'm sharing, Stephen's here, Diane's here, Abby's. Oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. So you have everybody.
Beautiful, this is great.
Isn't that something? The stars
It's amazing.
Are all in alignment. Okay.
How long that lasts?
So let's see. I think what we should do is the new dwelling first, okay?
Sure.
All right.
85 each.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we go to the main house. Okay, your turn. You get the
Okay,
mic.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all so much for hearing us today. And then in your last 15 minutes, we'll make it fast here. So on the main house, so we went ahead and made some changes and used all of your feedback, and we're pleased with how the results are coming out with that. If we can scroll down to C5 on the screen.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. What up one more? There she is. There she is. So in general, we went ahead and made, there were some general comments about where our height should be taken to, as well as the cardinal directions and all of that. So you'll see that all of that has been addressed per your requests. And starting now here on the south elevation. In general, on the massing, we brought down the massing of the main ridge between the two front gables. That's now 16 inches difference from the two gables. We also brought down the side massing over here on the right and brought that down further. We've gone ahead and separated the windows just to help fill out those elevations, which was a great suggestion. I think looks better. On the front, we brought down the size of the front nano wall, as well as beefing up some columns to help address some of the comments there. I know there were some comments on the front about sort of making that seem more relevant. I believe it was Commissioner Welch who mentioned, that the previous structure did not have a front either, and it's still sort of that way. We're also hoping we can address that in landscape, which you see in the three-dimensional there, with some hardscape to help people know that that's sort of the front, even though the real front is actually under the trellis on the side. If you want to scroll down to the next, the C6. Thank you. So on this elevation, we just sort of addressed which you're not quite seeing in rendering, but we addressed the mass that's in the back when we separated those windows, made separate dormers for each of them, and generally brought that height down. It's about 2 feet lower than it was before. If we can scroll down to the next guy.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, sure.
But I'm sort of following along, looking at your very accurate 3D renderings of the elevations.
Yeah.
And what I'm not seeing, I'm seeing the right-hand portion of your west elevation, which would be the southern portion. I'm seeing that quite clearly. But then beyond that, I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing trees. Why is that?
So that's really step back. If we go down to the next page, and thank you for your comment on the accuracy of rendering. So that extra mass that you see in 2D elevation is actually all the way back over here.
Way back.
Yeah, it's way back. So in that case, it's just hard to see from that vantage point.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
No problem, Mr. Chair. And then here on the back, again, we've separated out those second floor windows, so they're no longer mulled, tried to fill up those elevations in a better way, reduce the windows in the center mass as well, just for a little more shingle and balance there. And I think that's about it. And again, brought down that mass of this back sort of arm, if you will, which you're really seeing here in the 3D as well. And if we scroll down once more, sorry, to the next page. Thanks. And then same thing, now you're seeing the other side of that back mass, as well as having reduced this bit where the trellis is. And again, that was by about 2 feet and better aligns with the garage, which we'll see in the next application. A couple of other things. I believe that everyone was sort of questioning the glass pieces here, which I'm going to call the little connector. I think it was Commissioner Welch who suggested, although it might be a pain, if we wanted to pursue, the best way to do that would be to do that separately with an in-person viewing to see if that was in fact visible. And our clients would like to pursue that avenue. They do not think that it would be visible, but they appreciate that we need to go through the process for that. So I'm not exactly sure how to do that or what the process is for proving that and how to get this moved to an approval while we're still waiting to build that in full so you can see it. But they do want to pursue that. So we've left that in the design at this moment. And then finally, I don't know if these got added. I do have a couple additional photos of the structures on Low Beach Road, if that's helpful for people. And so I can share my screen
And we're all pretty familiar with Low Beach Road. And we don't have a heck of a lot of time. I mean,
yep.
We've reviewed dozens of projects down there, so context is, we get it.
Yep.
But so thank you for the presentation. Holly, yeah, gotcha. I think we're going to go straight to the board on this. And yes, we do have a way of dealing with the thing that you were talking about with respect to your glass connector piece that Stephen alluded to earlier. But I would like to hear from the board members. Who would like to start?
I'll go.
Thank you.
I think my biggest concern is the side facing the street. Although the other was unconventional, it still felt like it was the front of a house with the two one-story elements couching the doors, which are, that's just not common. I feel like this is a bigger departure from having the front of a house. This is the rear of a house as the front of the house. So I think that the front entrance needs to read differently instead of a bank of doors like that, which probably are nano doors and open all the way up. I'd like to see some finessing there to the front.
Okay.
I think the rear of this house we're not going to see, although I don't know what the property behind is. Is that a walk? Like a
I think that's
environmental.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it's open to the public, then.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. Because there is a lot of glass in this house, which is not usual to have the tower of glass.
Correct. Okay,
that's my biggest concern is the front.
Thank you. And those are sliding doors, by the way, which can be open all except for the two outermost leaves. Abby.
Well, so I share Val's concern about not having a front door, but I'm looking at the site plan. And I don't know how many hundreds of feet it is from Low Beach Road, but it is my concern that there is no immediate, front door. And as for the glass in the back, I'm not sure about that. I don't know who is going to see that because I don't really know. I think it's conservation land in the back, but whether, the deer are looking in at that, I don't know. Yeah. So other than that, I don't have any comments.
Okay, thanks. Diane.
My concern is also the door that's facing front, so one would think it was the front door, and the glass connectors. I think that is a prominent enough house to sort of follow our usual direction. And when you come in and you've got staircase and a fence going up to that, it gives you the solid thing that it is the front door. And having it so many panels, what is 4 panels, is excessive there. I'd like to see what they can do. Perhaps we need to make a view of what is seen from Land Bank and back. There is a couple of paths or whatever back there. I don't know whether they're considered public or not. So that's, I would like to see that. And the concern of the windows and the glass connector are concerns of mine also.
Thank you, Diane. Stephen.
I recognize the concern about the front door or the lack of a perception of a front door, but I also acknowledge that this is a considerable distance from the street. And it would not be inappropriate, to my mind, to have landscaping address and direct people. Most particularly if you're going to have a driveway that doesn't go to the front and it goes to what the front that faces the street. Front being defined as the elevation that faces the street, but it goes to the actual front, which is defined as where the front door is in the interior program. The rear of the house, it's the first story, there's vegetation, irrespective of the land bank or other property. I'm not concerned about that.
In other words, you have no concerns,
Yeah.
including the glass.
Yeah, it's, oh, no, lastly, the glass, my thoughts remain the same, that area could be, the structure could be approved omitting the glass. And that could be brought back once the structure is constructed and we can take a look at it.
Yeah, to which I second.
I have another comment.
Okay, go ahead.
My concern with that section is that at night, it's gonna be this big blast of light out there.
That's correct.
Right.
Both ways, front to back, and then this whole tower where the stairs is, and that is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
There's a lot of structures out there that have a lot of glass.
Okay. So the nano wall thing, so we would have transparency through the quote front of the building, front and back. I was feeling relatively comfortable about the nano wall system because it's underneath the porch and it's really hard, as we all know, when something's shaded like that to tell what exactly is under there, particularly at this distance. It does introduce another level when it's open on the front and the back and it's nighttime and you have like this transparency through the building. It is on the first floor, so it's less objectionable to me than the glass connector, which is 2 stories that's on the side. And I would want to do something along the lines of what Stephen is suggesting, where we only approve it with a couple of windows and then, have you come back and check the visibility and perhaps the visibility at night to see how that goes. So those are my comments.
One more comment I have.
Yeah.
This is significantly far back from the road, but it's highly visible. There's nothing in front of it.
Correct.
Well, we haven't seen the landscape plan. Which the applicant mentioned was something they were willing to strongly, vociferously work with us on.
Well, I see it's not down as our other things.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you guys want to do? This is really the only application of the 3 that we can review. We're here at the end.
It sounds like a motion to hold for revision.
Okay, so we're going to hold for some revisions. Maybe you want to tidy up that glass piece, give us something that we can approve, and think about the nano wall thing, at least for now. And the sense of entry. In other words, all of what has been said by the board members. So a motion was made to hold for revision. Is that what I hear?
Yeah.
Okay, and that came from Stephen. On Stephen's motion to hold for revisions, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Val.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby.
Aye.
Thank you, Stephen.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Okay, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the other 2 applications are.
Oh, we could just, let's
Motion to track.
Yeah, those will track with the main application. On that motion, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Val. Abby.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Greg. Aye. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And now we can have a motion to adjourn. So moved. All right. Thanks. About 2:30. Bang.
Bang.
In house. Okay. On that motion, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Val.
To adjourn?
Yes.
Yes, but I wanted to bring up something.
Okay.
So you could wait.
Hold on 1 second. On John's motion.
On John's.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
And John on your motion. Aye. And I'm in favor. Okay, so we're adjourned, but what?
We need to have another person on the solar committee because it's incumbent on us to go to every single meeting. There's only 2 of us. Everybody.
It's
I'll go.
Thursday.
Every Thursday?
It was Wednesday, then it was.
Every Thursday, except for when I was sick.
How long?
It's a long time.
It is?
It takes, it's typically an hour and a half. But it's after these.
I know, so.
Oh, boy.
Are you going to do it with Zoom or are you going to do it?
No, it's look, you guys, I just got to interject here, and we probably shouldn't be talking about this, but